Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, August the 6th, 2019. I am Bhavin Oliver with the details. Key stakeholders met here today to finalize the National School Safety Policy that will guide the country's educational institutions in preparing for and responding to all hazards. Under the National School Safety Policy, all school buildings, private and public, should be constructed with certain building codes and standards. In an interview with SVG-TV News, Education Officer for Disaster Management and School Safety, Dr. Idalia Ferdinand, said the safety policy is necessary to guide the country's educational institutions in responding to hazards.
So everything that we do in relation to the policy has to do with, one, having safe buildings, and not just in terms of construction but in terms of design, location. And we know that many of our buildings are already located in areas that may be high risk, but it doesn't mean that we cannot put things in place to ensure that they are safe, right? And so we also want to ensure that new buildings are built to standard, using the codes and standards that are available.
Dr. Ferdinand said it is important that educational institutions across SVG get involved in disaster management.
Encourage, the educational institution, when this policy is rolled out, that they would pay attention to the areas that are related to them, and they would work along with us, with the Ministry of Education, to ensure that our schools are safer spaces, not just for the students, but for the staff and the community, or the users of the school. And it's not just about the Ministry of Education, but all of us have a responsibility as citizens of this nation to ensure that our educational facilities are safe. And in addition to that, they are also used as shelters, so they are definitely a part of the community mechanism.
The School Safety and Security Policy, which was finalized today, will be forwarded to the Minister of Education for submission to Cabinet. Once approved, it will be rolled out in all educational institutions for compliance. With preparations being made to ensure educational institutions in the country are prepared for hazards on a larger scale, concerns have been raised about the resilience of other buildings, including private properties. SVG and other neighboring islands in recent years have been large-scale destruction to homes and other infrastructure in the aftermath of hurricanes. In light of this, questions have been raised about the strength of some of these buildings and whether contractors have been following building code guidelines. In the first of a three-part series, we highlight the need for building contractors to ensure these structures have enough steel to withstand hazards such as hurricane-strength winds and earthquake tremors. Reinforced concrete is used in most modern buildings, giving them the necessary strength to withstand many of the perils nature will bring, including hurricane-strength winds. One key factor to reinforced concrete is steel. However, some persons have been incorrectly using them, which can create problems. Engineer at the Physical Planning Unit, Desmond Pompey, said there must be a specific mix of concrete and steel for strong buildings. The engineer took the opportunity to highlight what can happen to a piece of structure which has no or limited amounts of steel.
Steel is important in concrete for tension. So the steel fail, you don't have any tensile strength of the concrete. For the most part, your columns is in compression. So you can say, well, you don't need any steel for compression. That might be so. But also the thing does rock. Because the wind shaking it, and when the earthquake shake it, rock from side to side. When it does that, it kind of stretch the columns. It stretch the joints, the corner joints, compress them and stretch them, that kind of thing, stretch them out. If you don't have steel, when it's stretched, things pop.
Pompey said steel in a structure allows for the concrete to crack, which is a warning to the homeowners and builders that the building is overloaded. He said too much steel, on the other hand, prevents this from happening and creates a danger for all.
If you put too much steel, because you there on a business of put, what is going to happen is this. You're not going to know when it is overloaded. And what it will do, it will snap. It's too stiff. You want it flexible. They must bend and flex. So you need the right amount of steel. So you can see the cracks them develop and you can say, boy, this thing is overloaded. I need to put added support. If it's too stiff, it can snap.
Some persons also ignore rusting steel in buildings, and Pompey warns that rusted steel has reduced strength, resulted in a weakened structure. Many areas in SVG has harsh environments which can lead to corrosion of steel if left exposed. Pompey highlighted what persons can do to protect this precious building supply.
Two things happen. One, you lose the strength of the steel because it flake away. So you don't have the section that you have before. And the expanding force cracks the concrete. So the concrete again is weakened. It weakens the structure. Harsh environments, especially around the coast, the steel get rust, concrete start to spoil, structures crack. Right, so concrete cover is thing. The right size steel, the right reinforcement is also important. And the persons who intend to continue construction later, leave these steel and thing exposed, it is nice if you can coat them with those rust protection products that they have at the hardware.
For SVG-TV, a state funeral will be accorded to veteran politician Sir Vincent Ian Beach, who passed away on Monday, August the 5th, 2019. This was announced by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves during a telephone interview on NBC Radio yesterday afternoon. The Prime Minister, who is currently in Taiwan, said that preparations are being made for the state funeral for Sir Vincent, whom he described as a progressive nationalist.
The Grenadines will provide a very dignified send-off as befitting our civilization. He will be accorded a state funeral. He will be given all the requisite honors of his burial because of his outstanding service, including as leader of the opposition. To Lady Vida, to his family and friends, on behalf of the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and on my own behalf.
Dr. Gonsalves says Sir Vincent's death has left a void in the political landscape of SVG, noting that as Prime Minister and as a friend, he has sought the advice of Sir Vincent on a number of matters.
I was expecting his passing, though I told him that he must hold on, let's fight it until certainly I return. I was hoping that he'll make it to his birthday on August the 13th, which day he was going to be 88. But the Lord knows best. Vincent Ian Beach is one of the towering figures in our history and one of the most distinguished personalities from our country and the Caribbean who was born in the 20th century. He's been one of the most successful political figures in our history. He's the best Prime Minister we've ever had. He was my dear friend and comrade, and we will miss him greatly.
The Prime Minister said he promised Sir Vincent to keep his legacy alive, as he looked out for the poor working class and wanted to see a better and united SVG.
I told him, I left him on Saturday evening, I told him that I love him very much and that I shall protect his legacy and his memory. And the best way to do that is to do what Vincent himself would have advised and advocated and fought for all his life, to better the lives of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and our civilization. I will make necessary arrangements to see if I can return swifter from Taiwan. family had indicated to me that, given my schedule here, I didn't need to cut short my visit. If it turns out that he died before I returned, but I will see what all the arrangements which are possible to be made.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines will officially open its embassy in the Republic of China on Taiwan this Thursday, August 8, 2019. There will be an official opening ceremony which will be attended by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of China on Taiwan, Dr. Joshie Joseph Wu, and SVG's designated ambassador to Taiwan, Her Excellency Andrea Bowman. The President of the Republic of China on Taiwan, Her Excellency Tai Ing-wen, is also expected to attend the event. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who is leading the 8-member mission on an official visit to Taiwan, will unveil the sign to mark the official opening of the embassy. A release from the government communication consultant Elson Crick said the opening of the Vincentian embassy is a sign that the relationship between this country and the Republic of China on Taiwan is growing and becoming more institutionalized. He said the embassy will address the needs of the growing Vincentian student population in Taiwan, as well as facilitate greater private sector investment and build on a strong cooperation that exists between both countries. Thursday's official opening will also see a cultural presentation from Chanel Mackenzie, the 2019 Calypso Monarch, as well as welcoming remarks from Peggy Carr, a Vincentian who has been living in Taiwan for a number of years. The Vincentian embassy will be staffed with Ambassador Bowman, a Minister Counselor Elson Wilson, a secretary and a driver. The Agency for Public Information API is expecting to stream the event on its Facebook page from about 9 p.m. Vincentian time. Women as transformational leaders and inclusive leaders were two key areas discussed yesterday at the 39th Biennial Women's Conference hosted here by the Caribbean Union of Teachers. The conference was held at the NIS conference room and was attended by more than 20 Caribbean women in the teaching profession who came together to discuss issues affecting society and how women can play a role to address some of these issues. Delivering the keynote address was Laura Anthony Brown, who believed that women should be able to take up more leadership roles.
That task is, and regardless of the person's gender. Too many persons desire to lead without having the requisite leadership skills. Too many persons in our region are thrust into positions of leadership who are demonstrably ill-equipped for that leadership role, who are unsuited and unprepared for that role. This happens too because we often use the wrong principles to choose leaders.
Chairperson of the Status of Women's Committee, an arm of the Caribbean Union of Teachers, urged women to continue to disrupt the norm and to make a difference in society.
There should be prescriptions of women's place in the Caribbean. Women need and should have choice. Women should be able to have the confidence to make decisions for themselves. In order to transform the norm, we need to rely on women like us, women who work hard every day in our personal and professional lives to get things done. Because transformation begins with us, we need to go beyond the norm to realize our potential and assist and support our sisters along the way.
Several local educators were participants at the conference, including President of the SVG's Teachers Union, Wendy Bino, who stressed the need for women to support each other regardless of nationality.
As Caribbean women taking the lead, we need to stand in solidarity with each other, not division. We need to be the woman who wants other women to up their game. We need to stand strong. Fix each other's crown without telling the world that it was crooked. Help our other women to win. Cheer them on. Share a resource. It wouldn't take away anything from you. Let us empower each other. Empowering does not come from selfishness, but rather from selflessness.
President of the Caribbean Union of Teachers, Julian Monrose, called on all governments in the region to respect teachers and value their contributions to education. Monrose was at the time addressing the opening ceremony of the 39th Biennial Caribbean Union of Teachers Conference being hosted here in SVG by the SVG Teachers Union. The opening ceremony took place last evening at the Prime Minister's residence.
Professionals within the system, we demand that our government treat teachers with the respect that they deserve. Our government must stop paying lip service to education while they continue to subject the practitioners in the field to poor health and safety conditions at the workplace, low wages, abuse of professional rights, in some cases denial of pension rights, denial of the opportunity to properly participate in genuine collective bargaining practices.
Monrose said engaging teachers' unions is a must as they represent all teachers and rights should be upheld at all times.
Vision of quality education require that the education system provides quality teachers, quality tools, and quality environment. Too often, when we speak about quality, it's only about what the teachers are doing, and there's no emphasis, no discussion on the environment and the tools that the teachers are given, or the tools that they are not given. The message that we send to our governments is contained in last year's Teachers Week theme. The right to quality education means the right to a qualified teacher. And a theme used many years ago that, and I quote, the teachers' working conditions are the students' learning conditions.
Minister of Education Sinclair Jimmy Prince said teachers in SVG have contributed to the government's education revolution. However, he noted that there is always room for improvement.
Parenthetically, that teachers have been a major beneficiary of this particular revolution. And I think I needed to say it because you represent teachers. Of course, this is an imperfect world, and more can be done, and more will be done as our circumstances allow. Suffice it to say that the education system in the current period has undergone tremendous changes. There is greater emphasis in the pre-primary and primary education. There is universal access to secondary education. Access to post-secondary and tertiary education has improved by leaps and bounds. This revolution also takes into account adult and continuing education, special needs, and a comprehensive approach to technical vocational education and training.
The conference will go on for the rest of the week, where a number of issues affecting teachers regionally and internationally will be discussed. This country is expected to have a national export strategy by December this year. To this end, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Commerce on Tuesday, July the 23rd, officially launched a consultancy to develop a national export strategy, which has been in the pipeline since 2004. Director of Trade Okola John Patrick said the Trade Department has been trying to get the strategy at this final stage for a while, and that they have been excited to have a launch. Patrick said the consultants will be in the state until August the 9th and is expected to present the final document in December. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade and Commerce, Sandy Peters Phillips, said the National Export Strategy is a symbol of the government's commitment to business and civil society.
Using trade as a means to achieve the sustainable economic growth that will assist in the changing of our external trade position. The directive to develop a national export strategy was approved by Cabinet since in 2004. However, due to lack of financial and human resources, the strategy was not fully developed or adopted. Nonetheless, government continued to recognize the importance to establish a national export strategy to enhance economic growth, and therefore reiterated it in the 2014 National Budget Estimate as well as the National Economic and Social Development Plan of 2013 to 2025. In keeping with this vision, the ministry began to search for available opportunities which can assist in the realization of this important policy mandate. And fortunately, TradeCom2 approved the application submitted and further dispatched consultants to St. Vincent and the Grenadines to begin the process.
According to Peters Phillips, the export strategy will include an analysis of SVG's trade performance and help to reduce the cost of doing business and to promote the country as a business partner of choice, among others.
Constraints faced in accessing major markets, analysis of stakeholders involved in export promotion and their task. 4. Recommendation on the enlargement of export base. 5. Recommendation for the economic diversification. 6. Recommendations on integrating global value chains. And 7. Products with competitive advantage and better market access opportunities while highlighting market access obstacles. Moreover, the National Export Strategy provides a well-articulated policy that seeks to strengthen supply capacities, investments, and economic diversification. In addition, it seeks to enhance the quality of the business environment to foster entrepreneurship and reduce the cost of doing business. Additionally, the National Export Strategy will identify opportunities for enterprises to increase value addition, enter regional and international markets, and to further integrate SMEs in.
Team leader and EU delegate Andrea Sapagli urged participants to actively participate in the consultancy.
I just want to emphasize from my side how happy I am to see you with us this morning in such a large number, because the strategy will be a tool to support basically the private sector in St. Vincent to export better and more. So your collaboration in working out with us consultants the strategy is essential. So we expect you to support us to take part to the meetings we have planned.
The nation's youth have been encouraged to avoid distractions and work hard to achieve their dreams. This as the Kingston Cooperative Credit Union held its scholarship award ceremony today at the Methodist Church Hall. The credit union distributed over 48 contributions, 3 bursaries, 3 socioeconomic scholarships, and 3 academic scholarships to students who were successful at the CPEA examination to assist them with their secondary education. Speaking at today's ceremony, KCCU CEO Clement Lynch said success requires one to use all their talents to achieve a good outcome. He said while the children have achieved much, there is still much more to be done and implored them to take their academic studies seriously.
Unfortunately, the human being can only sometimes learn by repetition. Most things we have to repeat over and over and over. And there's a reason for it. Physiologically, you're building neurological paths. That means you will develop a skill. You take tennis, for example. If you want to practice a backhand, you have to do it 100, 1,000,000 times before you get it right. It is the building of those neurological paths, certainly, that will help you to understand. It takes time. This is not the Matrix, where you load up the karate program and you are a Shaolin master. The human being is not like that at this particular point in time. Maybe on some other planet, but not here. Or universe, sorry. So, I would implore you, when your study become absorbed, avoid the distraction. Put the cell phone aside unless it's going to be used at that particular point in time to do research, whether on YouTube or a website or something, for material that is relevant to the subject matter at hand.
Delivering a motivational speech to the students was Ruth Stowe. She said education should not stifle one's dream, but be a vehicle to achieve it. Stowe further told the students that there were persons who will criticize them and may even prevent them from achieving their dream, but they should stay focused. She used the example of reigning soca monarch Magical to inspire the students to dream big.
Education should drive your imagination beyond the books. With that being said, children, Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Know what criticisms to accept and what criticisms to reject, and be the best version of yourselves. Magical, a two-time Royal Soca Monarch winner, went a step further to capture the 2019 National Soca Monarch title with his song Bloody Hell Crazy, which I'm sure all you children know and can sing word for word. He did this against the criticism of his own peers who had no faith in him. He turned their criticism into success. Thus, take advantage of your world by making it your garden. Plant your seeds and watch them grow into success. Even when you're struggling, even when you are discouraged and you feel like other people have given up on you, don't you ever give up on yourself.
Stowe also encouraged parents not to stifle their children's dream.
People who have gained success in life had dreams to chase, which made them what they are today. These people didn't give up dreaming, as without hard work, a dream will always remain a dream. To the parents and guardians sitting here today, I direct the focus to you, and I urge you to fuel your children's dreams, even if it means letting them stay up past bedtime, as Randy Posh posits. I also urge you not to force your own dreams on your children. Support them in theirs. Give them time to dream, give them tools to dream, and feed their creativity by encouraging them to dream. Henry Thoreau's quote not only expresses to go confidently in the direction of your dreams, it also goes a step further and urges us to live the life you have imagined.
The contributions made by indigenous people to the regional tourism industry will be highlighted when the Barbados-based Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO, holds its conference on sustainable tourism development here in SVG later this month. It said the August 26 to 29 event will discuss how indigenous communities across the Caribbean are accessing tourism markets and welcoming visitors to encounter their traditional ways of life. The CTO said that the matter will be discussed during a panel discussion entitled Indigenous Conversations, Celebrating Our Past, Embracing Our Future on August the 27th. The session will be moderated by Magistrate Dr. Zoella Ellis-Brown, a Belizean, who is the head of the Garifuna Heritage Foundation in SVG. CTO said that the Sustainable Development Conference, otherwise known as the Sustainable Tourism Conference, will be held under the theme Keeping the Right Balance, Tourism Development in an Era of Diversification, and will allow for the delegates to address the urgent need for a transformational, disruptive, and regenerative tourism product to meet the ever-rising challenges.